Welcome to the Jesus People segment of the Antioch Indy podcast, a place where each week we're going to hear from different people about what it means to walk with God. We hope that you leave encouraged and equipped and that this builds your faith for what God wants to do. Welcome, everybody, to Jesus People. This is Karis Freegee, and today we have a Meet the People episode, which were ones that we did back in the beginning where we had various couples on. Today we have the Woods. Woods, say hello.
Hi.
Hello.
We had y'all on stage last Sunday, so if you missed last Sunday in church, that was when we announced that, Jordan, you are taking over as
The executive pastor.
And Priscilla, what's your role title?
My official title is Curriculum and Classroom Director.
Curriculum and Classroom Director.
Yep.
Okay. And so as
Amazing.
a couple, we hired you because two are better than one.
That's right.
So I wanted to have you guys on. I actually wanted to have you on before I even knew you were going to be on staff.
Oh,
just
wow.
as people. you guys were great. But I'm excited because it just works out to have you on this week and to hear kind of the journey, how you guys made the decision to step onto staff, what that was like, because I know it was crazy for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
But I want to hear about yourselves first. So tell me a little bit about where you're from and how you met and how you got involved in Antioch.
Well, I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas, so a little beach town in the very south Texas. And I first got acquainted with Antioch at Baylor
Yes.
in Waco, Texas, and that's also where Jordan and I met.
That's right. I grew up in New Mexico.
Yes, I think I knew this because I asked you if you snowboarded.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
I did snowboard.
Did you grow up like in a snowboard area or was you like the hot?
Yeah, so I grew up in Albuquerque, which is the desert, but it is the same elevation as Denver, and so we get snow just like Denver, just not quite as much.
Yeah.
So there's a big mountain right there.
Wow.
You can go up, go on the weekend or go in the afternoon. I didn't go a ton there. We actually have family in Colorado, and so we would go to Colorado much more because it's Colorado,
better,
which is better. But yeah,
that's great. And then did you go to Baylor as well?
Yes. Yeah.
And you guys met?
Yeah, we met our freshman year, and just through mutual friends, but we ended up being in the same section at Antioch.
Which is a group of life groups for clarity. That's
we
what
are
they call.
actually working on developing sections, right?
Cool.
Young adult section.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is it called? High school? What's that called? Youth.
Youth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're called youth. Yeah.
What are those people? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you met in the same section.
Yes. And basically the same day we met, we were like, well, this is it. This is
Really?
yeah. Like literally we knew right away.
Both of us were actually in a relationship with somebody else.
Oh, no.
And so we went on a journey of character development, getting out of those unhealthy relationships, going through, what we refer to as a character funnel in college, and giving ourselves to community and discipleship.
So we didn't date for until our junior year.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We just stayed friends and didn't talk about it. And
yes. There's actually a semester maybe where I was like, I can't talk to Priscilla because I need to figure out what it means to follow Jesus and walk with her, and that was hard. And I think that by the end of that, you're like, does he even like me anymore?
But I wouldn't trade it for anything because I think so much has been easier in dating and marriage because we were able to be developed as people and not just rushing into dating. So.
Okay, I need to step back for a minute. So you when you met, did you mutually say, "This is it"? We're going
No, it was literally just this feeling.
Okay,
yeah,
so
there wasn't we didn't have a DTR.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just we looked at each other and we were like, that's the person that I'm gonna marry.
Which is very us.
In your head,
Yes.
not saying it out loud.
Not saying it out loud.
No.
Right.
When did you say it out loud that this was?
So I think we probably didn't have that conversation until we were actually engaged, or maybe late into when we were dating, and it was just we both both knew, and it was like, okay, so let's do the work to get into a healthy place, so that when the time comes, we're ready. So that's what kind of sophomore year and part of junior year was, and then we started dating and
got married right after we graduated.
Yeah.
Okay. And Jordan, what was your major?
Mechanical engineering.
Okay.
Whoop, whoop.
So that was tough.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah. We so part of our journey was, when we were in the college ministry, we life group led and ended up both of us leading what we call a section, which is a group of life groups.
Yeah.
And so we had very committed and busy schedules at church, much more than your average college student.
Right.
And then I had to balance that with engineering.
Which is intense. All my engineering friends, or like friends
It's
who
insane.
had boyfriends that were engineers, you just never saw them.
No,
Yes.
I would see him. We had like a curfew of like 11 o'clock or something, and I would see him at like 10:45 outside the engineering building just so we could say hi on some days.
Yeah.
It was just like
And then
very
I'd go
full.
in and be there all night.
Oh my
So,
goodness. So
yeah,
after
so-
college, what did you do?
Yeah. So when we graduated, we were still section leading, and so we had committed, and we weren't necessarily ready to transition out of that. And so we were like, God, please give us a job in Waco. We want to make this transition well. It was a lot of effort and development of people that we didn't want to just straight say, all right, see ya. So fortunately, the only job that I applied to, I actually got an interview and got offered a position in Waco at a company, aviation company there.
Wow.
And so,
Which was also like his first pick. He really wanted to do aviation.
Right.
So that was really fun.
yeah, yeah. So if that hadn't worked out, I don't even know. I don't even think I had a plan B at that point, which was.
So you worked on planes?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool.
It was cool.
So, and that actually is, I did that for 6 years.
Okay.
Then kind of switched into what's referred to as a project management role. And so kind of overseeing not only engineering, but other aspects of it as well. And that's actually what brought me here. That's what brought us here to Indy. We kind of got to a point where it was time to make a transition, make a change.
Yeah.
We felt like God said to cast a wide net because we didn't have any direction about where to go or what to do. And so I don't remember how many places I applied, more than 10, I think. And, things obviously started narrowing down, and we got down to 2. It was either Indy or Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is beautiful.
Thanks for choosing Indy. I feel the pressure.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, wow.
But obviously a big aspect of the decision was it was a non-negotiable that we'd have community. And obviously we'd grown up in the Antioch movement, and we believe in it. And it was a big factor in us deciding to come here. There were other factors, schools, and but yeah. So we got up here. We've been here for a year now. We moved up for the 4th of July in 2018. Sorry.
No way. And you basically started a year later.
Yeah.
working at the
Yes,
church.
exactly a year later was his first day at church.
Right. Yeah. Which is funny.
I kind of want to go back just a little bit because you are referencing community and things, but like were you saved before you got to college?
Good
What
question.
did Antioch?
Sure.
I just said it like such a non-Antioch.
Antioch.
People that actually go to Antioch don't say the T.
Yeah.
But what did it offer you that you
Yeah.
didn't feel like you'd had?
That's
Sure.
good.
Yeah.
I think for me, I grew up knowing Jesus, but I didn't have the discipleship portion or just personal devotion to Jesus, like spending time with him every day. Like I had heard of some ladies who do like Beth Moore Bible studies,
Right.
but I didn't know like that you could meet with him daily.
Yeah.
And so I think just really got completely swept up in that when I learned all about it in my freshman year of college. And I was just immediately, somebody started discipling me and I didn't know they were. Yeah. And I got invited to a life group. I didn't know what it was. And, and so, I think that was for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
So
about you,
I
Jordan?
think for me, I started walking with God as I think sophomore in high school. Grew up in a church that wasn't walking with Jesus.
Family.
A family. And so got saved on a Sunday, which is, and I believe that people should invite people to follow Jesus on Sunday because people do. I'm one of them.
That's so cool.
And so got plugged in. Actually, a buddy of mine had gave his life to the Lord the week before. I saw the change. I was like,
Came to church with him. Yeah.
I need that. And so the two of us kind of were like, okay, now what? we were in a youth group that was, as I look back, not really walking with God.
Yeah.
But trying to figure it out in the midst of adolescence.
Yes, which is hard.
And so just once I got to college, or once I graduated, I was like, I'm ready to walk with people of God. Like, I need to know what that looks like. I need people around me for encouragement, because I was kind of figuring it out on my own.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what led me to Baylor. It's a Baptist school, but when I went and visited, I was like, there's some people here that are really going after it, and that's what I want.
Wow.
And so, I got plugged in early, like Priscilla said. One of my roommates was actually a life group leader.
Wow.
And so went to life group with him, got plugged in. Similar to what she had was somebody that started investing with me. I thought we were just like getting breakfast and stuff, but actually he was like
miscellaneously hanging out.
Exactly. Which
every other week.
Like, okay, this is great. I've never had somebody like want to do this like so consistently. But at the same time, I ate it up, and you know, then kind of just started investing and giving back what was invested into us, and one thing led to another. So.
And when you guys moved here, and because I know you said you felt like God said, cast a wide net.
Yeah.
Looking back, did he give you any promises that you're like, oh, that makes sense now that you're stepping onto the church? Or did the whole church offer come pretty out of the blue? And is it still kind of out of the blue, like you're wrapping your minds around?
That's a great question.
Right. Well, since we were in Waco for 10 years, and so we got to see a lot of cool things happen in Waco, and a lot of things get started out of Waco. So one of the big desires of the movement is to plant churches, and so as we graduated, as we were there for many years, we got to see a lot of those teams launch, and so a lot of our friends have launched on teams.
Yeah, right.
And so throughout the years, we've had multiple conversations of, maybe what could that look like if we did that, all the while trying to bloom where we're planted, try to invest in workplace.
In the workplace.
Priscilla worked for a number of years before we started having kids. And so we came to a point where we were like, we just want to obey the next yes,
and that was just to move here and still keep working in aviation. And so. Right.
Yeah, I don't think there was necessarily a specific word that we got for Indy apart from like it just was right. And we prayed, we did the prayer journal, we tried to do everything in terms of how you make a big decision,
right?
But we just felt peaceful about it.
The prayer journal, is that like the 1 month,
like the 30-day?
Yeah. You journal about it, but you don't talk about it. Is that what it is?
Yeah. But we ended up not really having 30 days.
Okay,
we just had to decide.
It got condensed. And so I think it came to a point where, and I think Andrew has talked about this maybe on one of the Sundays, where he was like, sometimes it comes down to a decision, and you're like, you've done your best to narrow it down to like 50-50, and at the end of the day, you just make a decision, commit to it, and God's going to make either one the right decision.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's really freeing.
And so, to
not be like paralyzed by like, what if I choose?
What if I miss it?
Yeah,
exactly. And so for us, I think we got to that point. But in this instance, I think we were feeling even a little bit more towards Indy, just because it checked more of the boxes, which is helpful.
Yes.
Not always the case, but it's helpful.
Okay, so Andrew called you out of the blue.
Yes.
Take us a little bit into that story.
Yes. So I think it was sometime in May, towards the end of May. He just super nonchalant. He sent me a text. He's like, "Hey, sometime today, can you have 5 minutes for a phone call?" And I was like,
you would do it like that.
And I
guess you can't be like, I have a very large question.
Yes.
Exactly. And so I thought, I was like, sure, and I was like, give me a call, or I'll give you a call after lunch or something like that. And, and so he, super nonchalant, just was like, hey, I just wanted you to think about, or I think what he said was, I want to know what your thoughts are about being executive pastor. And I was like,
the thoughts I've never had before.
Yes.
I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's humbling and terrifying. And I don't remember everything I said. I think there was a long silence and a long wow. And I said, yeah, I'll think about it. And he's like, I'm not sure what it looks like yet. We'll have to figure that out.
Right.
But, he said, yeah, I'll think about it. And he's like, I'm not sure what it looks like yet. We'll have to figure that out. But,
The context of this question is coming from Jordan coming off a really intense work season where he was finishing up a plane, essentially.
Yes. Right.
And so he was working like around the clock and coming home to sleep.
I actually only know this because you were helping Chad on production.
Right.
Yes.
He would just be so bummed because he likes you so much.
Aww.
Jordan working it.
Yes.
He has a real job.
He's the flakiest
Yes.
guy ever.
Jordan's awesome.
Yes. And so that was so hard.
Yeah.
And so he was finishing that plane
Wow.
and about to step into even more leadership at work. We had bought a house, and then Andrew called and was like, let's change things up, yeah.
Blow all of that up.
Yeah. And
so did you like call Priscilla right after you got the phone call?
we were together.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't remember what day it was. It was either a Friday night or a Saturday.
Yeah.
But I was home.
He was
Okay,
home.
And so I walked upstairs and I was like, "You need to sit down."
And then I was like, okay, we're doing this.
Wow.
Yeah.
No. We had to pray a lot.
Yeah. So we definitely prayed a ton, but it also kind of going back to what I said earlier about we'd had multiple conversations of what it would look like for us. And what's funny is we felt like we had a conversation where an executive pastor role would actually fit for me.
Yes. Because you
And-
knew you didn't want to be like the...
Right.
Number one, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's this unique gifting and
Yeah, Jordan can handle details really
Sure.
well, and yeah.
Sure. And so it was like, okay, wow, this actually might be happening.
Yeah.
And so I think our immediate heart response was yes, but how?
Yeah, right.
And so Priscilla said we had just bought a house. We were actually closing on the 31st. He called me like 5 days before that.
Wow.
So it was like, okay, timing is interesting. We know that God's timing is better than our own, and I think in some aspect there's a faith journey there that He was inviting us into.
Right.
And part of the working out the details it was awesome that this position opened up for Priscilla and helps with that. And so God has a way of making the things work if we just step out in faith. And so I think it was an easy decision, a lot of details to get worked out.
Yeah,
So-
that's amazing. I remember sitting next to you guys in church on the front row. I think it was even before Andrew asked you, and I only had heard like whispers of like, and I was like kind of nervous sitting next to you, like listening to you respond, being like, "Oh, I hope he said this." So it was like while you were making the decision, I don't
Sure.
remember. I just remember feeling nervous for us as we. Not even that I was part of any part of that, but I just
No,
was
yeah.
so
You were.
excited to have you guys. And
Thank you.
it feels right, as you said about
good.
coming to Indy. It's like so cool
Yeah.
and so needed.
We're excited.
Yeah.
We're really excited.
So as you're getting into it, tell us about the provision of your mom, because I think that's a really cool part of this.
Yeah. So we maybe a year ago. So my parents are divorced, and my sister is getting married and moving away states as well. And I am, and we're in Indy, and my mom's in Texas. And so we kind of started this conversation of what would it look like if she maybe lived with us or near us. And we prayed about that for a long time and talked it through. This is like maybe a year ago. And so then we kind of put that plan in motion. So
Like last fall.
yeah, like last fall.
Yeah.
And so then it actually she was planning on moving here in July, and before we even knew about any of this job stuff. And then they offered me, the part-time job, and my mom was already going to be here the same week that we were going to start at the church. And it just worked out for our kids to be with her, to be with family, and
they love her.
and they love
they love her.
They don't miss us that much, which is really helpful. Yeah.
It's a treat when they get to be with Gigi.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Is she a Gigi?
Yeah,
We
she's
love
Gigi.
too.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's been so sweet for
Yes.
my mama heart, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like just the timing of it all, I think it must have felt confirming, like a
Yeah.
much easier yes.
Yeah.
Than
Yes.
to
Yeah.
try to find childcare and everything.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
That's so true.
Yeah.
As you're like settling in, obviously you've been doing this a week.
Mm-hmm.
What are your first week impressions or thoughts or?
It's good.
Yeah. The external processor will go first.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited. It's awesome. It's crazy that I'm actually doing this on the first. I think my first day or second day, Sam and I were leaving at the same time, and I looked over at him and I was like, I get to do this? Like, we get to do this? Like, this is real? It's awesome. There's a lot that we're figuring out. There's a lot of things that we've got set in motion, a lot that's in front of us, that's exciting for the church about where we're going, and we're getting some details figured out so that we can be better, and I think that's part of the reason why the role exists and is needed, and I'm excited. Our team is amazing. We got a great staff, and each of them are highly capable, and I've enjoyed working with them and enjoyed going forward. So
it's cool.
Yeah, it's just been such a different pace for our family, for sure. To have Jordan just around more.
And for you to like work with them.
Yes. Yeah, we walked in the first day and they had put our desks together in the office.
So cute. I know.
And I was like, what?
Your desk
so fun. Yeah.
So
and just as far as what I'm doing for prepping for Sunday mornings is like exactly what I went to college to do, and what did you major in? Elementary education. And so
wow.
Yeah.
We didn't even mention that.
So just like prepping
amazing.
lessons, I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yes.
So.
And she's amazing at it, by the way.
I
Really.
imagine you would be. I actually tried that for a semester.
Yes.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Because like just didn't work with my personality.
Yes.
Like, I just want to be spontaneous, and y'all want me to have lesson plans.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Well-
actually one of the things I'm really excited about is she's like a 10 out of 10 in terms of her capability for teaching and curriculum, and
It's amazing.
I mean, teaching kids is just natural for her, and it's awesome. We're going next level. So
Our kids team is insane.
I
We
know.
have Beth, you, and Anna.
And Anna.
yes,
And each of you like pretty uniquely gifted. It's not like you occupy
I would
the
totally
same
agree.
personality spheres or anything like that too,
Yeah.
that is amazing,
it's like
guys.
all-star team.
Yeah,
literally
all-star
all-star team.
We have a lot of kids, so we need
We
it.
do.
I'm actually convinced that Andrew hired me so that he could hire Priscilla. Like, that's
We
the
didn't wanna
real.
tell you
That's
that,
the real story.
That's not the case. But it is like so awesome to have you
That's
both.
fun.
And I think the testimony even from your story is just what you said about we want to say the next yes
Yep.
to what God brings up.
Yeah.
And so I would love for you to pray that for people as
Yeah.
we close. It's just
good.
I think a lot of us can get paralyzed by the analyzing of decisions or
Yes.
looking at certain decisions and saying, what is this going to cost me? But I didn't really hear
Sure.
that in your hearts. It was just like, we're going to move forward in faith. God will
Yeah.
take care of the details, and he did.
It's
Love
good.
So I think it's an important DNA piece that your story brings to our church. So
That's good.
Come on.
if you'll pray for people.
I will, absolutely.
would love
Jesus, we love you. We thank you for your invitation of relationship, God, that ultimately each and every day, every decision that we make is your pursuit of relationship with us and our response to love you and to know you more. And I thank you, God, that you're kind in how you lead and guide us, that we don't necessarily have to have all the answers. We don't have to know all the various aspects or have all the perspective, but simply hear your word and obey, and you're gonna make it right. You make a way for us, and so I thank you that you partner with us, that you are a good shepherd, that you literally yoked with us each and every day, and every time we take a step, you're taking a step with us. And I just release a freedom for our church, for our people, to risk with you, to step out in faith, because you always meet faith, and so we love you. We thank you for bringing us here, for bringing Priscilla and I here, for this body and for the hunger that is so evident in our people. We ask that you would increase that and grow that, and that you would multiply that in our people. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thanks so much, guys, for being here.
Thanks for
having us. And for
having
everybody else, listen next week. We have an exciting guest on the podcast. So make sure you tune in next Thursday.